Mr. Richard Holden, of course, down there on Parliament. I think he's in Westminster. I think he's in... Oh, no, he's not. Hello. Richard, very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike.
Wanted to talk to you about this first cousin marriage business in a minute, but first, I don't know whether you saw Peter Kyle there talking to Jack Elsom from The Sun, political editor, basically claiming that they fixed the foundations and now they can move on to the next stage of their particular government. I mean, a lot of people asking the question, which foundations have they fixed already?
Well, quite. I mean, they come out with this mantra constantly, but I don't think it washes anymore. I don't think people believe them.
No.
And I don't think people believe them because it's just not true. If Labour have done anything since they came in, they've made the situation so much worse for working families up and down the country. I've got small businesses in my constituency, particularly that national insurance rise and the rise in bills for business rates as well. And those things really hammering businesses on the high street, and not just businesses. You know, my local hospice is having to raise hundreds of thousands of pounds a year extra these days just to cover that national insurance rise. And that means either having to divert resources from other things, but the idea that, taxing hospices has been Labour's big achievement. I mean, I don't know how on earth anybody could consider that's fixing the foundations.
Yeah, and now they're talking about possibly taxing private healthcare, which a lot of people have gone to simply and purely because the NHS is not fit for purpose, frankly, and they've decided to save up as much money as they possibly can to fix their own foundations of their own persons, if you like. And if they start taxing stuff like that, that really is beyond the pale, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and this is the thing, as Shadow Transport Secretary, we're really worried right across the board. We've already got a 13% rise in airline passenger duty, hammering every family holiday coming in next year. It could be even higher. We just don't know what Reeves is planning there. Fuel duty, was frozen basically for 13, 14 years under the Conservatives. We don't know whether she's going to go back on that. Insurance premium tax, the tax you're going to pay for doing the right thing, insuring your car. Apparently, they're looking at possibly raising it from 12% to 20%, right? Rail fares, are they going to raise them again above inflation this year, which could be, almost 5-6%? Who knows, right? This is what we're really worried about right across the transport space. Labour are going to hammer people who are getting out there, going to do a job, right across the country.
Yeah, exactly right. Let's talk about the NHS as well, because you've been very vocal on this story. They've been urged to apologise for publishing guidance extolling the benefits of first cousin marriage. This is a massive, massive issue in this country. There are people, believe it or not, as I'm sure you know, who extol the benefits of a first cousin marriage and say that it should continue to be allowed, despite the risk of birth defects.
No, I know. So I think the truth is, this is something I've been campaigning on now for quite a while, and I've actually had a private member's bill to try and put forward to try and ban it. The Prime Minister has constantly instructed his whips to block that at every turn. And then literally a few days ago, we saw the NHS coming forwards with guidance to say, actually, all these positives, apparently, they're for first cousin marriage, basically how it strengthens family ties. I mean, it's unbelievable, without flagging any of the major issues around women's rights, around, even freedom of choice within families, and it's just incredible. And without even mentioning, those real concerns that there are obviously around health as well. It's just incredible that in this day and age, actually we've got a Labour Party who seem to be hell-bent on standing up for some of the worst cultural practices that actually we should just draw a line under and we need to move on from.
Yes. I mean, would you say it should be outlawed?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've got legislation for it. In fact, not just me, but in the, I've even managed to get the entire Conservative Party behind me on this one. We've had amendments put forwards to bills. For some reason, Labour just will not accept our proposals to block first cousin marriage and block relations between first cousins. It just seems crackers when, particularly, Mike, when sometimes you're talking, this isn't like a one-off, a situation. This is sometimes generation after generation after generation. And you can imagine the sort of issues that can bring when sometimes you might even have people, when you've got those such tight family relations, the genetic conditions people all know about.
Right.
People might be familiar with the sort of the Habsburg monarchy in Spain, which eventually, was so inbred that it bred itself out of existence. And the issues and the health concerns that come along with that, as well as obviously concerns around individuals' choice. Because actually, when it comes to it, we are not seeing vast numbers of people in normal society choosing to marry their first cousins. I think this is actually a bit of a smokescreen for something else. It's not. I also don't understand how you can really have freedom where you share the same set of grandparents. It's hard that you can walk away from an abusive relationship, for example, if you're sharing the same set of grandparents. I think it's just a no-brainer for most people.
Right, absolutely. And for many of the women in particular who are kind of, in these marriages, many of them were forced, as well we know. Many of them were not probably given a choice as to whether they were marrying the person that they wanted to marry. They were told to marry somebody and they happened to be their cousin. And as you said before, for some reason, Labour doesn't want to go against it. Well, I think we all know what the reason is. The reason is that they're dead scared of upsetting the community, which mostly does this.
Yeah, I mean, this is an issue in a couple of communities. There's definitely an issue in the British Pakistani community, particularly those from rural parts of Pakistan, and with families still there. And there's also been traditionally a bit of an issue in the traveller community as well. I think that we need actually to show some leadership on issues like this, and that means we've got to change the law. The odd thing is, actually, for about, I think it was about 1400 years, this was actually banned, first cousin marriage. There was a law change because of Henry VIII wanting to go marry one of his wives, but it didn't really become an issue in the UK until relatively recently, when it was this multiple generation after generation after generation, and we just now need to sit up and get it sorted. Because and particularly when it comes to spending on our NHS. And it's very difficult to get any real figures out of this, but from the amount of people who work in our NHS who've contacted me, there's quite clearly real issues around this, and the amount of money that's being spent on helping those who are affected because of this and children born because of this, is really very, very substantial. And I think we need to have a proper look at it and actually level with the British people about it. And that's why I put forward the legislation to ban first cousin marriage, and the Conservatives are backing me on it. And I just think that it's time for Labour to get on board.
Yeah, it's common sense. It should be done. Richard, good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Richard Holden, MP, Conservative, and Shadow Transport Secretary, of course, as well. Let's get a voice note from Kitty.
Good morning, Mike. Kitty from Kent here. The £20,000 that Keir Starmer dismisses because he's so rich, and he's so rich because he never has to spend his money, actually in today's money is worth over £40,000. So just to clear that little matter up. Regarding the field he bought for his mum, I just wonder if we've been misled by donkeys. Have a lovely day.
Very good. I like it. Misled by donkeys. That's a good way of describing this particular government, isn't it?